Welcome back to the Full Court Trap Podcast, episode 3. Today we got my good friend Aaron on the show. What's going on, pal?
Yo, what's up, Jake? How you been, my G? It's been a good time. It's been a while since I've seen you, man. It's good to see your face.
It's nice to see you too, man. And it's been a great time in sports right now. We got NFL, NBA going on. So what do you think about the games this weekend, man? You excited?
I'm super pumped for the games this week, bro. We got a great 2 games ahead of us for this NFC Championship and AFC Championship weekend. I think it's going to be a powerhouse of a struggle of back and forth games. I don't know. What are your Super Bowl predictions? What do you think?
I mean, before the season, I had Ravens 49ers. So, gonna stick with that one. How about you?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, my heart wants me to say. Who I want to win, I want Detroit to win a little bit. I do like Detroit. I think Detroit's a kind of a feel-good story. I don't think they're going to win because 49ers are a really good team. And same with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are obviously they're the king of the crop usually every season. But the Ravens, I think, just have a different team this year, and I think Lamar is good enough, and that defense. I think that Ravens defense is good enough to stop the Chiefs offense this year, and bring the Ravens over the top. It's kind of funny that I don't know if you've seen like the Super Bowl logo. I just wanted to mention this. Like, if you've seen the Super Bowl logo, it's the logo is like red and purple. So I don't know if you want to.
Is it?
Put some guesses towards that, but like maybe this is a little bit of predicted too early. Or think it's
that is funny.
A little bit? No, I'm just kidding.
No, that is funny though, and yeah,
very interesting. To say the least.
Very interesting. Well, yeah, man, it's gonna both be great games. I think with the Ravens Chiefs, you got Ravens just a perfect all around team. We got great offense led by Lamar, much better receivers now. Mark Andrews is back. Likely, who's really come on at tight ends, and then you got guys like Zay Flowers, Odell, all those receivers. And man, I don't know. I just feel like obviously the Chiefs, have been the team for years who's done it. But I think the Ravens are just a better football team. The Chiefs offense hasn't been as dominant this year. The Chiefs actually have a really good defense, but I don't think it's Ravens level good. And I see the Ravens pulling this one out. I don't think it'll be easily, but I'll say like a 2-possession game, 10-point-ish game. I think the Ravens pull this out. And then 49ers Lions, same with you. I want to see the Lions do it. I say it's going to be tough. This game is going to be won really in the trenches, the offensive and defensive lines of both teams. And I don't know, man. I mean, Detroit's made it further than a lot of people predicted. I said either Detroit or Jacksonville would make a championship game this year. So looking good with that prediction. But, we will see. I hope Lions win it. But, I think if I would put my money on it, I'd say 49ers win by a touchdown, probably.
Yeah. And as far as the Ravens go, that defense with Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, like their secondary, that whole defense is just, I think it's just going to be too much for the Chiefs to handle, I think. It's going to be in Baltimore. I think, even with Taylor Swift in attendance, I don't think the juju is going to be right for that game. I don't know. I just have a feeling that I think Ravens pull a quick one up from up and under the Chiefs and probably get the dub there. I don't know. As far as the Niners Lions go, I hope that's a good game. I hope the refs don't make it tough for the Lions like they usually do. Like the Lions usually get kind of screwed sometimes. But hopefully they make it a good game. I would like to see Jared Goff back in the Super Bowl, even though I have some mixed feelings about him since I'm a Rams fan. I do love the guy though. He was great for us for a number of years, and it'd be a really feel-good story to see Detroit in the Super Bowl. That's never happened. They've waited forever. They haven't been to a Super Bowl yet, so I don't know. I'm a big fan of underdogs, so we'll see.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
love to see the Lions win that game. I think we're on the same page in terms of who we want to see win. Uh, I think I think the Lions can do it. It's just a matter of will they. I mean, the Lions are similar teams to the Packers. I think they're a better version of what the Packers are. And the Packers were, by all accounts should have won that game last Sunday. But at the same time, the 49ers have had a week to, refresh and get back to the game. I think if the Lions offensive line gives them time, that 49ers secondary is exposable. But if they don't get time, it might not matter. So, yeah,
Right.
it'll be.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to. I think it's also going to come down to the Lions' defense. Like playing against Christian McCaffrey, yeah, that's a tough ask for that Lions defense. Even though they've been pretty squirrely, and they're pretty good at making random stops at the right time. So we'll see how it goes. I just don't think like their defense really matches up too well versus that 49ers offense. That's the only problem I have with the Lions. But their offense is great. Their offense is like a very solid offense. They got great offensive line, great wide receivers. I had Amon-Ra in fantasy. He did great for me this year.
Oh, he's a
So
beast.
we'll see how that goes. They got a great yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I am hoping that they pull off the upset, but I don't know. I feel like the game is a little it's already almost been decided. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
We will see.
The Super Bowl logo just already gave it away, man.
We will,
we'll see.
we
How
will
it
see.
goes, I hope that.
We'll see.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, honestly. Like if the Lions did win and the Chiefs won, it would bring me back to like 2018 vibes when Goff played Mahomes in that one crazy game,
Yeah.
Rams Chiefs game. That'd be a cool storyline going into that Super Bowl.
That would
though.
be.
I wouldn't want to see the Chiefs back in it.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. I mean, any given Sunday, right?
Yep. I mean, that's what it is, especially at this point. There's no real right prediction. Ultimately, I'm happy that I picked 3 of the 4 Final Four teams right, and the one that I didn't pick right was probably just out of my Chiefs hatred more than anything else. As you know, I am not a fan. I had them losing to the Dolphins. So, we will see what happens there. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to bet against the Chiefs at this point, but I'm really hoping Lamar pulls it out.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be cool to see Lamar in a Super Bowl. That'd be really good for his career and for his legacy, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, as far as the Niners go, I'm like, if you with the Chiefs, I'm with the Niners, dude. I've hated them since I was in the womb, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Orange County kid. I'm a big Rams fan. I've been a Rams fan since 2010. I'm a diehard LA Rams fan. So seeing the Niners in this NFC Championship game is why? But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I can confirm. When we were in 8th grade, he was a St. Louis Rams fan. I remember specifically in the back of creative writing, always talking about Patriots and Rams. At the time, the roles were kind of reversed. The Patriots were a lot better than the Rams at that point. Now the roles have kind of changed. But it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. And
it's been a fun,
I don't really know.
It's been a fun journey as a Rams. That's kind of funny. I can remember like when back in the day, back when we were in 8th grade, I read like who was it? Was it Sam Bradford at quarterback? That's what I remember. Maybe that was a little bit before you actually. You came in 8th grade.
No.
I know it was Sam Bradford, was like Tom Clement, Case Keenum, and it was like, Nick Foles. It's like
I have a specific memory of us being in the parking lot after school in 8th grade, and Sam Bradford got traded for Nick Foles. I remember that. That was that. Yeah, right. That was that year. So that was so Bradford would have been there during the fall of that year, and then the next year it was Foles, and then ultimately my boy Keenum was starting for you guys a little bit. I've always liked Case Keenum, so.
He came a long way since Sam Bradford. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be the truth, right? He was supposed to be the guy you're putting all your money on, and I mean, you guys got a Super Bowl after that, so clearly it's not a curse of Bradford or anything. But I thought he was gonna be special, man.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of quarterbacks, but and even coming into that 2017 year with Goff, I wasn't really expecting much after that 2016 year. He was at a terrible 2016, but when Sean McVay got hired and he turned our whole program around, everything around, he's just been, in my opinion, I think he's been the best coach in the NFL in the past what 6 to 8. He's been this is his seventh, eighth year. I want to say he came in 2017. It's 2024. So this is going to be seventh year. He's been, in my opinion, he's the best coach in the NFL. The past, I want to say, 6, 7 years. That's just my opinion. But
I
yeah,
think
like coming as a super young head coach, he was like 30 when he became our coach till now. He's developed crazy. He's turned crazy like quarterbacks who you would never think would be good into Super Bowl champions and Super Bowl contenders. So I'm interested to see what happens with us next year. Like this year in particular, like I never expected what we were going to do this year, just because we got rid of Jalen Ramsey, we got rid of Leonard Floyd, we got rid of Von Miller, like all those big names in the Super Bowl. We got rid of Odell last year. We were coming off a really injured year too. Like both Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford both were injured that entire year. And then it was just a tough year last year, but I never had a doubt that we were still a good team. We were just kind of injured and it was kind of like a short rebuilding year. Although I never expected Les Snead, the goat GM too. We have a goat head coach, a goat GM too. Like Les Snead, I met the guy in person. He's crazy. He's a wizard. He just drafts all these people, random people in the fifth, sixth round, and he's like finding these diamonds in the rough. It's like crazy.
it's amazing, right? Because you guys have developed so much young talent. You really haven't had that many picks to do it. And I think also not to take credit or anything, but I feel like I was the only person who had the Rams making the playoffs going into this year. I feel like nobody else was putting them in the playoffs. I had them getting the sixth seed. I ended up being pretty on point. So not to take credit, but I feel
Let's
like
go. You
I
know,
feel like
you know,
I picked
you
that
knew what
pretty
was
good.
up.
But yeah, man,
Yeah, I mean, coming into the year, yeah,
I
Stafford.
think that you
Coming
guys
coming
have
into the year, like you would assume, like
what was
oh,
that?
like coming into the year, you would assume like you would assume like after getting rid of all those players, all those big name players like Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, and working with the roster that we had, you would assume like yeah, like they're not like trying to compete this year. Where they're just like it's a rebuilding year, but that's not how our team that's not how the Rams organization thinks. Like you're in a big market like LA, you always have to be competitive. Like moving maybe if you're still like the St. Louis Rams, you'd be thinking like all right, rebuild the year, we're not going to try that hard. It's kind of like we're just gonna this is a throwaway season. But when you're the LA Rams and you have that big market and you expect and fans expect you like in being that big a market, like you have to stay like really competitive because you're a huge name, a huge brand name. So yeah, I knew from the beginning like Snead was going to draft some good players, and we're going to be competitive no matter what. And it turned out like we over exceeded expectations. So I'm happy about that. And hopefully bring some of that momentum into next year too.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely will. There's so much young talent. Like we were talking about before the show, I think you guys have got to go defense this draft. Sign. I don't know how much cap space you guys got, but whatever you got, just sign defense. Because in that playoff game, man, I know the score wasn't that high, but there were barely any punts in that game. That was all offense for the most part. I don't know how much you want to talk about that game because I know that was a tough one, but
Oh no, no,
that
no, I'm cool with it.
but that game,
Yeah, we had to.
man, ultimately, it came down to one play call that I don't think the one play call I don't think you guys got right all night was punting that ball in 4th and 14, man. First of all, you can't take that hold the play before. I think there has to be a better call that doesn't allow for a hold the play before, like more of a safe play. But I feel like 4th and 14, 4 minutes left, you got one timeout. It's just kind of hard to rely on your defense. I know that they only given up what 7 points in the second half or something. but it was it's just I feel like the yardage wasn't worth the possibility of not getting the ball back. And I don't know. I mean, that was a great game. That might have been my favorite game of the playoff all year, all playoffs. But that was a good game.
For sure, yeah, it was definitely that was definitely of the playoff games in the wild card round. That one was definitely the best one. It was worth all the
100%.
hype. It kind of just sucks. Like Kyron got hurt. He broke his hand that game, like in like the third quarter, or something like that. So that was a big loss for us. If that wouldn't happen, that would have, I think it would have been probably a little different story. Would have probably ran the ball a little bit more, been more balanced. But we worked with what we got, and Higbee went down towards ACL. That was kind of a dirty hit by
dirty play, 100%,
safety,
100%.
But yeah, I mean, what we were working with, like in the first half, the Lions were just like slinging down the field. They scored like 3 straight touchdowns. They were balling, and it took us kind of a while to kind of get warm, kind of get hot. We ended up kind of getting it like close at halftime. It was like, I think it was like 17-21 halftime. And coming out of halftime, our defense just turned it on. Like that's what we've turned into a second half team in the recent years, which is great. Like Raheem Morris, he did a great job of tightening up the defense after half, and we held them to, what was it?
3
3
points.
points the entire second half. Yeah. So there was, and then we scored. If we would have just converted like one red zone in like one touchdown, like one more touchdown in the red zone, it would have been over. But it just didn't work out that way, and I'm not mad about it. I think that the Lions, they played a really good game. They're a tough team. It's very conflicting when like the team you're rooting against hasn't won a playoff game in 30 plus years, and you're a big underdog fan. You're like, oh man, I want to see my team win. Obviously, I want to see the Rams win, but like, I wouldn't mind. I'm not gonna be mad if the Lions win. Like, they kind of deserve it. They've gone through enough pain as a franchise.
Yeah, this is true. And those fans are loyal too. I lived in right outside of Detroit in 2019, 2020 year, on and off with family, and I was at the Thanksgiving Lions Bears game, and those fans, man, they actually had a decent team. They just kept blowing games that year, but man, they were like 3-7 ish, and those teams were out there like it was the Super Bowl. Man, they were super hyped, and I think they ended up winning that day. They were all ecstatic, and yeah, I'm happy for them, man, because I watched that game with 3 Lions fans, and the funniest thing that somebody said was, "We sacrificed the Pistons for this year. They could lose 40 in a row. We don't care." So that was funny. But what a week that was for Michigan sports, man. Having Michigan win the national championship, and then having the Lions win their first playoff game in 30 whatever years, like crazy. And I mean, we've seen the Lions shortcomings firsthand. I mean, remember in 2015 they had that game against the Cowboys where Cowboys fans will complain forever about the Des Bryant drop that happened, which he didn't control it all the way to the ground line. Cowboys fans, I'm sorry. But the week before, the Lions got completely screwed against the Cowboys, and nobody wants to talk about that. I mean, the pass I think it was either it was a very long time ago. I think it was a pass interference that got called on the Lions. It might have been a no call on the Cowboys, but I remember there was a pass interference late in that game that really screwed the Lions, and that was really their last time they were relevant, man. And it's nice to see them, really come on this year. I think it says a lot too about the importance of not tanking, right? Because last year when the Lions, I think they had a tough start to the year. They, finished 7-9, 8-8 ish, but they brought that momentum from last year into this year. They beat the Packers week 8. Was it week 18? And a game that was meaningless for them, but for the Packers, could have brought the Packers into the playoffs. Beating the Packers that game kind of shifted a change in power of the NFC North, I felt like. And coming into this year, I felt like the Lions were big favorites. For a little while there, the Vikings were close to them, but then, Kirk Cousins unfortunately tears his Achilles, and everything was set up for, Lions to be great, and they've taken full advantage. The head coach deserves all the praise to the world, man. A lot of people were criticizing that hire. I remember at training camp, I think it was, he was saying, he had a speech that, people took as like, not caring enough or something. And that dude, that first year, man, they had it rough. And he's really changed the culture there. They've gotten really stacked offense. The defense is able to hold its own. And yeah, man, it's just awesome to see. Because like you said, that team has never seen success really. So
they finally bit off the kneecaps, man. They're just going to town on those kneecaps. The Detroit Lions team, and Eminem is so happy right now, dude. Eminem's biting off kneecaps too, man. He's going crazy out there.
Eminem is he's hyped, man. He is
He's a happy man.
He is a very happy man. I mean, he's been shouting out the Lions forever. I mean, obviously from Detroit. Him, Barry Sanders. I know Big Sean was at that game. Who else? Barry Sanders, Big Sean, Eminem. I think there was one more.
His video to Stafford was hilarious.
Yeah,
his video to Stafford was hilarious. He was like, please, bro, please let us win.
I performed for you at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was dying about that, man. But Eminem's a happy man.
He is Calvin a very happy man.
It was a cool act.
Calvin, that was how did I forget? My favorite non-Patriot ever, probably. Him and Lamar Jackson, probably my two favorite non-Patriots ever. So, very happy to
Calvin
see.
Was a stud.
Man, I still makes me angry that we didn't see more of Calvin, but you watch his interviews talking about everything he had to go through just to get in game shape in terms of the medicine he had to take, the stuff beyond medicine he had to take. It was like, I understand, but that guy's talent was out of this world, man. Yeah, like every time, I'm like with people who, are like football fans, but not like huge football fans, and I'm like trying to show them like cool plays or players. Calvin Johnson's my go-to player, man. You bring up one of those highlight reels, and people are shocked, man. The catches that he made were just
like catching passes in triple coverage and.
Yeah, I mean that one.
Yeah, he's wild.
Who was it against? Was it against the Cowboys or the Bengals? It might have been against both. There might have been similar plays, but three guys on him and just rising above him like that for a touchdown, man. That guy was special, man. Wish he was on the Lions at a point they had success. It's kind of the same thing with like, the direction the Browns are going in, and a guy like Joe Thomas who never really got to see success. Those guys were special players, obviously very different positions, but I feel like those guys both deserved more success throughout their career than they got. And, it's cool to see Calvin still supporting the Lions, even in retirement. So, yeah, happy for the Lions, man.
Mm-hmm. The curse has been lifted. The Detroit curse has been lifted.
I mean, actually, yeah, it has. What am I saying? Yeah. And at this point, they went further than the remember when the Clippers had that second round curse? At this point, the Lions are in the NFC Championship. I feel like you can't have an NFC Championship curse. Like if you win a couple of playoff games, not a curse. So yeah, I think it's fair to say the curse has been lifted. I don't know, man. Crazy week of hires. Got Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. How do you feel about that move?
I think it's a good move by the Chargers. I think, yeah, Harbaugh, like you said, Michigan being with that big win, he's been a solid coach for Michigan. These past, I want to say, how long he's been with Michigan? I want to say like
it's been a while.
4 or 5 years. I want to say.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, around that much time. Yeah, he's been very solid. He's definitely worthy of an NFL head coaching job. He was never, honestly, I don't think he was ever really bad in the NFL. I don't really know. I mean, the 49ers, like, they fired him all those years ago, and then he just moved back to college, and he's just been very successful. So I think the Chargers are getting a great coach.
That 49ers roster the last couple years was one of the worst rosters of all time. Like, the defense was okay, but the weapons they had offensively were pitiful. Like, they had 50-year-old Anquan Boldin as wide receiver 1, like Torrey Smith in 2017. Like, what are we doing here? So I'm very glad he's
80-year-old Ray.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I'm very glad that he's got his ticket back in the NFL. That guy had instant success with the 49ers that has translated to this day. I mean, before that, the 49ers were on a little bit of a dry spell, the worst, 10 or so years in franchise history. And then Jim Harbaugh got the 49ers back to playing 49ers football. And now we see the 49ers where they're at. That all really started with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, they had a couple of down seasons, obviously, but ultimately that brought the fan base back. That brought the life back to that franchise. And I think he's going to do the same in LA. And I think this is desperately needed for the Chargers too, because like you said, there's two teams in LA. You got the Rams and the Chargers, and the Rams are destroying that battle right now. And I don't think the Chargers will ever be bigger than the Rams, but right now it's such a big difference in terms of who cares about who. And the Chargers have this stigma around them for the last 15 years where they've been essentially playing the same game over and over again. It feels like every single game they'll get in these one possession games, they'll either have some stupid choke or just give the game away at the end, or just have a turnover at the end. But it feels like every single big game the last 15 years, and the Chargers have had some amazing teams, and they've continuously just given it away. So maybe Jim Harbaugh will bring the coaching that's needed to not mess up situations, or maybe they're just cursed. I don't know, but I know Herbert's a fantastic quarterback, and I feel like that team should have been way better than they were this year. I don't understand bringing back Staley this year at all. I think it was a huge mistake. You blow a 27-0 lead in a playoff game, especially after he'd blown leads all season. I just never understood bringing him back. But ultimately, you got a very good head coach, guy who's going to instill defense and quarterback play as soon as he gets there. You're not going to see – I think you're going to see a very improved Justin Herbert, and he's already a great player. But I think at times he struggles against good defenses and in big moments. And I think Harbaugh will bring the best out of him. And ultimately, man, like for guys like that, it's just really, I think, finding the right scheme, finding the right everything around them. And I think Herbert should be able to figure it out. But that's why I watch the games, right? Maybe Harbaugh will be a mistake. Who knows? But I have a good feeling about that hire.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I think he's going to bring a lot of accountability and discipline to that team. The Chargers often, on paper, they're like every year, you think on paper they're a very talented team. So I think with the right head coach, I think he can bring them over the top, have them win in the playoffs. And yeah, Brandon Staley. I mean, I have a soft spot for Brandon Staley because he was our D coordinator on the Rams, 2019 or something like that. I want to say we had a great defense, but yeah, his game on his defensive coordinator skills just didn't translate to as an NFL head coach. He just couldn't organize a team that well. He was too aggressive.
For me, it felt like Staley's struggles really began in those Chiefs games a couple years ago where they'd just go for it when they really shouldn't have went for it, do really risky things that felt like they were for no reason. And it felt like at a certain point the players just gave up on him. And I don't know, man. I'm sure he'll get another job in football. Like you said, he is a good defensive coordinator, but man, at times
I think he's a very solid D coordinator, but just not the right fit at head coach. We'll see though.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that's a good hire. You have the Panthers hiring Raheem Morris, who we actually went over his resume before. His very crazy resume. This guy started off at Hofstra, went to Cornell, went back to Hofstra. He was a very low level assistant, built his way up through the ranks, ultimately got a head coaching job, I believe in Atlanta, for a season, or maybe it was Tampa Bay. I forget, either one of those. Went back around to colleges, NFL, and he was an interim coach with, I want to say, the Falcons in 2020. Then was the Rams defensive coordinator 2021 to 2023. And now is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Now, to start this off, man.
No, I think he's the head coach of the Falcons.
What? Oh, my bad.
Head coach of the Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. My bad. Yeah. So with the Falcons, I think I think it's a good move, man. I think they need defense. Obviously, I mean their defense isn't bad, but they have really good offensive players, and I think they really need to instill that defensive mentality. I think he's going to bring that. Ultimately, man, they just need to find their quarterback. That's been the story with the Falcons the past few seasons. Originally I wanted to get Deshaun Watson. Obviously made the right move not getting him ultimately because you don't want to have that much money tied to a quarterback who's not very good. But then, they've had Riddler, they've had I don't even remember who was starting a couple of years ago. What was it?
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean it was Matt Ryan, and there was somebody else. I don't know. They've went around quarterbacks a lot. And I think they're gonna have to pick up somebody. I think Kirk Cousins would be the perfect move for them. It sounds like he wanted to play with Belichick, but now Belichick doesn't seem like he's gonna have a head coaching job, which is crazy. So I think there's a decent chance Kirk Cousins ends up in Atlanta if the Vikings and him can't work it out. What do you think?
That'd be a good fit for the Falcons. I think like they have a very solid offense with Bijan Robinson, very very solid running back. He could be their workhorse, and then they got Kyle Pitts. I think honestly, he's been kind of a bust. And then you got Drake London, who I actually think is kind of underrated. Drake London's pretty underrated. They just have to kind of bring those offensive players together and make it work with them because their offense is under Arthur Smith was really 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 run based, and Kyle Pitts is not a good run blocking tight end. I want to say like he's a guy who's got he's a second he's a wide receiver playing tight end basically. Like he's like 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", but he's very thin, very slender, and it's just their system that they had before under Arthur Smith, which is very run heavy, just wasn't the right fit for him. And honestly, yeah, Drake London too. Like he's like 6'4", 6'5", very solid wide receiver, can high point the ball, but they just weren't really using them very very well. And I think with under Raheem Morris, I think anyone coming from that Sean McVay coaching tree, that even though his resume or repertoire is mainly defense, I think he's going to take some stuff he learned from McVay or bring over some people who have some tutelage under McVay and make that offense very similar to how the Rams run their offense or San Francisco under Shanahan runs his offense. Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, all like anyone from that Shanahan coaching tree, they're going to change that offense up to make it a lot better. So I think the Falcons are definitely a sleeper team next year for the AFC South. They just got to find that quarterback. Maybe they trade up for Caleb Williams. You never know. I don't know what pick they have.
I don't know if the Bears will do that, but I do agree. I think this is a good move for the Falcons. And I'm excited to see how these coaching changes go in. I really liked that the Raiders kept Antonio Pierce. I think he really was instilling an attitude that we haven't seen in Vegas since they got to Vegas in terms of a winning mentality, that's going to last for years. And I think the players really bought into him. I think that's a great hire. Might be the best hire of the offseason, honestly, just because I know last time they had an interim coach, I forget who it was, but it was the year they made the playoffs. They didn't bring him back. So I think that was a great move, signing Pierce. Want to get into some basketball talk?
Well, real quick, what's your thoughts on Belichick leaving? Because I know you're a Pats fan. I know that might be a hard subject.
Yes, this was actually, I started the last episode talking about this, but the thing with Belichick is ultimately, love the guy, greatest coach ever, did all he could do for the Patriots. Even till his last game, the team defensively was the beast. Like they were one of the best defenses in football, despite losing Judon, Christian Gonzalez, Jack Jones ended up getting cut. The defense was still amazing. It's just ultimately his philosophy offensively, I don't think translated to this new era very well. It's a lot of it is wanting his guys and not necessarily the most talented. I feel like now more than ever, having those talented guys who could just go and get it is so important. We see out of every team, every team has that guy, whether it's the 49ers with guys like Debo and Kittle, Ravens, obviously Lamar is the playmaker, but then you guys like Andrew, Flowers, all those guys. You got let's see, if we're talking like Cowboys, you got CD, on and on. Bill's got Stephon Diggs and other guys. And ultimately, I just think Belichick's philosophy was not going to work as well in this era as has eras past. I wish him all the best. As long as he doesn't end up in Dallas at some point, I will support him. But he because I know he won't end up on the Jets because he hates the Jets more than anything. So he will not end up in New York with the Jets. So I don't know what's next for him, man. Doesn't look like it's gonna be a head coaching job. I could see him working in some sort of front office. Even though people, including myself, have criticized his GM skills, that's not to say that his brain would not help teams being there. So I could see him potentially helping out. Uh, you know, maybe with the Giants, going back to where it all started, or the Browns. Um, but yeah, man. Yeah, it's sad. He's been there literally since I was born. I'm 22. He's been there 24 years. So a couple years before 1999, I believe he was hired. And yeah, it's bittersweet. But ultimately, I think the Patriots made the move that had to be made. I really like Gerard Mayo. I think he's a really smart guy, young coach. He has a lot of that Belichick philosophy, but I think he's going to bring in. Well, my hope is that he's going to bring in newer, younger coaches and a newer, younger philosophy that will, extend, for a long time. I hope Mayo ends up being the coach for just as long as Belichick. Obviously, that's a lot to ask, but I think he's a very smart guy, Mayo, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of an end of an era, but
yes,
it is what
definitely.
it is.
Yeah,
the rise to the top was long and fun, and now it's a little bit of a decline. We'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't last too long, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Probably not. I'm sure you guys will be. You guys are always competitive. The Patriots have always been a very competitive team. Gerard Mayo
Yeah,
he's a former player. I'm sure he's going to instill a lot of competitive nature into those players. So you guys don't have much to worry about.
yeah. I think we got
Talking
some
about
young
competitive
talent.
nature. Talking about competitive nature. How about those Clippers, dude? They've
Dude, thank you for bringing
been
him
pretty
up because
competitive in the West.
let me say the media
Not
has
not
not been giving the
to change the
Clippers. What were you saying?
I was just saying not to change the subject too much, but the Clippers they've been on my mind as far as their competitiveness. Like Russ has been playing crazy. Kawhi's been Kawhi. George is exceeded my expectations. I've always thought that Paul George has been kind of. He's a good role player, but he's never played this well in this long of a stretch of games. He's been the perfect role player, and then bringing in Harden has definitely opened up the court for the Clippers. I'm actually happy about it a little bit. I'm not a huge Clippers fan, but I'm a Kawhi fan. So any team that he's on, I enjoy his style of play, and
Yeah,
it's kind of funny to see the Clippers play so well with Russ and the gang and the crew.
I think with the Clippers, man, it's so funny with the way the media has treated the Clippers because when Harden got there, everyone acted like it was all over when they lost those first 6 games, man. They were struggling, but they were not losing big, they were losing close games. And for the most part. And you got Harden. Harden, I think, is playing his best basketball in years, probably since that 2021 Nets season, where by all accounts they should have won the championship if injuries didn't occur. Paul George has been great. I would not necessarily. I think he's been their second best player after Kawhi. I don't know. Harden's been great too. All three of those guys have been amazing. Kawhi's been incredible. He just had a triple double last night, I believe, or 2 nights ago. Whatever it was, he was amazing. Uh,
He's a
Westbrook,
fun guy.
like you said, Westbrook off the bench has been playing really well. I believe he's had 23 and 16 the last couple of games. Got the second most assists on the team despite not playing huge minutes this year. I think as now that they've got everything worked out with these guys, and it seems like him and Harden are starting to build rhythm. We already know he's got that rhythm with Paul George and Kawhi from last year, the beginning of this year, I think Westbrook's minutes will continue to rise. I could see him getting about 26, 27 minutes a game as the playoffs come around, and be a big part of that team. Other guys, man, Norman Powell's been amazing. I really like Norman Powell. Zubac has been great. Terrence Mann has been really solid. Ultimately, I think that's a championship contender, and a lot of people will be very upset.
Yeah, they're very. Yeah, yeah. People are going to be kind of like, oh man, we got to deal with the Clippers, Harden, Russ, Paul George. But I mean,
it's coming.
Yeah, I think that the two teams I'd like to see in the NBA championship, probably Clippers Bucks. That'd be my pick. I think that'd be a fun playoff matchup, like Kawhi versus Giannis and Dame and Middleton and that whole Bucks squad versus the Clippers. I think that'd be a fun NBA championship. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like to see the Clippers in there. Not sure if I necessarily agree about wanting to see the Bucks in there, but I will say my my championship pick before the season was I did have the Celtics Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are going to go there, though. I do think the Lakers will pick it up as the season goes on. Something off about that team, man. I think it starts with D'Angelo Russell, man. Never been a D'Angelo Russell fan. But that team's got issues. I really don't know like what caused them because they looked so good last year and they really didn't lose anyone, but something's going on with them. But I do think the Clippers have a very good chance. I still got the Celtics coming out of the East. Celtics have been amazing. I would love to see. My Cavs have been playing really well recently, so obviously that would be a dream. But ultimately, I think the Celtics are a step quicker than everyone else right now, in terms of the Eastern Conference goes. But I do think obviously if the Bucks get everything together in terms of defensively, they just fired their coach. They got Doc Rivers coming in. Doc Rivers, notorious choker, as we know. But maybe this is a little bit of redemption for him. I've never been a Doc Rivers fan. I've been a Doc Rivers. I got emails from 2011 with my dad saying my dad's a Celtics fan, so we'd be like emailing about the games, and I looked back a little while ago to see if because I remember being a Doc Rivers hater, so I looked back through my email to see if I had anything to mention Doc Rivers. I was like, Doc Rivers is the worst coach ever, and that was like when I was like 10. So I've been a Doc Rivers slanderer. I don't like to call myself a hater, but definitely a slanderer for a majority of my life. So not a huge Doc Rivers fan. I do feel like in music they call them industry plants. I feel like Doc Rivers is a coaching plant in the NBA. You can't get rid of him. He's always there.
I kind of agree with you on that one. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Of all the possible NBA head coaches that they could have chosen, they chose Doc Rivers out of all the possible NBA head coaches. I don't know.
Right. I don't understand.
Like why would I don't understand the reasoning behind that. Like his track record has not been that great the past
10 years.
Past few years. So I mean, I only see yeah, longer than a few years. I don't know. The reason I say the Bucks, I do like Dame. Dame is a great. I'd like to see him eventually win a championship.
Just got that combination all-star starter.
It's pretty nasty. Yeah, as he should. He's Damian Lillard. I mean, Giannis, they've all in the Bucks. They've been missing ever since that one championship versus the Suns. They never really had a second deadly offensive player, I guess, other than Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's solid, but he's not Damian Lillard like deadly from on the offensive side of the court. So I think that combination that's going to really pick up once they gel a little bit more in the playoffs. I think that's a scary team for the playoffs. And the Celtics have been great. They're very deep, but I just don't like that combination of Tatum and Brown. It's kind of getting a little old, in my opinion. I don't know.
Well,
they play really good in the regular season. They play really good in the regular season. They're a very solid regular season team, and they'll go in the playoffs and they'll play good up until the final round. They'll make it to the finals, and then they just they kind of they putter out. maybe Drew Holiday with the added defense is going to really help him out, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting with the Celtics. They do look really good. I'm not hating on the Celtics. The Celtics are very, very solid team. They're best team in basketball right now. We'll see though. I think the Bucks Celtics Eastern Conference Final is coming, and we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna. That's the matchup that we'll see.
I hope my Cavs have something to say about that, but ultimately I'm just focused on them winning a playoff series, and then whatever happens from there happens. But the only thing I will say with Dame being a starter is congrats to him. No slander. Dame is great. But I do think that Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson were a little more deserving of starter this year. You could say Mitchell, you could say Brunson. I think Maxey has been very good. But ultimately, I do think, during the regular season, I don't know how much it's helped the Bucks because their defense has not been as great. But I think as the season goes on, that will progress and they'll be fine. And then in the playoffs, obviously having those two dynamic scorers, it's gonna be hard to match. In terms of offensively, I'm still waiting to see them take that leap defensively, just because they have the defensive talent. Obviously, they got Giannis, they got Middleton, they got Brook Lopez, they got Jay Crowder. They got guys who could really defend, but will they put it together and be better than the 21st ranked defense in basketball? It remains to be seen. But if they could do that, I think they could put together a playoff run for sure. And we've obviously seen Giannis do it before, so it'll be interesting, definitely.
Very interesting. The Cavs have looked pretty good. I mean, they've been a little up and down. They're still a very solid. They're definitely a top 6 seed in the East for sure. I'm sure you can speak on it more than I can, but I know I've seen. Oh, they're the fourth seed right now.
5 right now because the Knicks won tonight, but they were the 4th seed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Cavs had a tough start. Yeah, Cavs had a tough start to the season. Then Garland and Mobley went out, and then Mitchell and Allen just really found it. The role players, guys like Sam Merrill, George Niang, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, all these guys have really been stepping up and contributing. Craig Porter Jr. wish he'd get more minutes, but he's been great. Tristan Thompson before his suspension, which people can say what they want. I think it's ridiculous because I get that, whatever he was using was a banned substance. At the end of the day, I know for a fact he's not the only player in the NBA using that. The fact he's the only player in the NBA suspended, why were they testing Tristan Thompson of all people? I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but I think it's ridiculous. And ultimately, last night against the Bucks, I thought it hurt the Cavs. People could laugh at Tristan Thompson. He's averaging like 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist a game this year. But what Tristan Thompson brings to Cavs is offensive rebounding and toughness on defense. And they were missing that last night. And Giannis got whatever he wanted. So looking forward to the Cavs game in Milwaukee tomorrow. I think they could have they give Milwaukee a much more of a run for their money. They had that game last week where they beat the Bucks by 40 without Giannis, had everyone else playing. Now they lost to the Bucks, and now tomorrow, we'll see what they're made of. But yeah, still annoyed that Tristan Thompson got suspended, but it is what it is. We got Mobley coming back hopefully next week, so yeah, we'll see. But
you guys are definitely a sleeper team. You guys are the Cavs are a sleeper team for sure. Yeah, you guys aren't making a lot of noise right now, but like once the playoffs roll around, you guys are in the playoffs. You guys are a sleeper team.
Yeah, I mean we just won 8 in a row. That loss to the Bucks definitely hurt because people could say it was against bad teams or whatever. I think winning 8 in a row without Garland and Mobley is impressive regardless. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I'm excited for them. I think there's a lot more shooting on this team last year, a lot more depth. Mitchell's playing the best basketball of his career right now, in my opinion. That's why I'm really upset that he got All-Star snubbed. I think he's been playing at an MVP level the last 20 games. And we'll see. I'm excited though. I think a lot of people are counting the Cavs out, and I'm completely happy with that. Especially after last year, let them count us out. Let us surprise them, and the best thing that could happen this year is being the Knicks in the playoffs after last year. I've had to hear way too many Knicks fans saying too many ridiculous things
Uh,
this season, and nothing would make me happier than knocking out the Knicks in the first round. I don't care if it's in 4. I don't care if it's in 7. I don't care if we go down 25 in Game 7 and win. I don't care if whatever happens. If we beat the Knicks, that would make me so happy.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would. I'm going to New York actually in February with my sports business club. So that'll be fun.
Oh, you didn't
I'm
tell me?
hoping we're gonna be touring. I was gonna tell you, but yes, I will be in New York February 4th through the 7th. I'm gonna be touring Madison Square Garden and just like going around like New York City. I'm staying in a hotel in Manhattan. So yeah, if you wanna say hi, bro, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It should be cool.
Yeah.
The Knicks
I,
like the Knicks, the Cavs. Who else is like you think is a sleeper team this year as far as the NBA goes?
sleeper team in the NBA.
Like to me, the T Wolves have been like quite a surprise. Same with the Thunder.
I mean they're the ones.
Thunder are nice.
No, T-Wolves and Thunder are definitely nice. Yeah, I think it would be a little disrespectful if I said that they were sleeper teams, just because even though a lot of people aren't giving them their respect, they are the 1-2 seed. But I think
I call them, I call them a sleeper team just because like we haven't seen them perform this well.
Yeah.
Like in a long time, and they're finally starting to turn the corner. Like the OKC Thunder, they've been so young for so long. They're finally got that playoff. They're getting that playoff experience from the past few years, and they're starting to play like veterans and starting to own like who they are as a team. And they rounded out. They rounded it into a really good team now. T Wolves, it's been like Anthony Edwards, I guess, is having a really 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 solid season.
Yeah,
he's been I think that the catalyst for their success. So it's kind of cool to see the T Wolves kind of like I might overperform with like I'm not they've always had a solid roster. I know they were in the playoffs the past couple of years, or the in the playoffs. But it's nice to see both those teams finally use their come into their potential. Like they're both young teams, and they're finally starting to look like veterans out there like playing NBA basketball. So that's why I call them a sleeper team, underdog still, because they haven't like proven it in the playoffs yet. But I think this year they'll definitely surprise some people, even as the 1 and 2 seed. Like the Lakers, like when the Lakers make the playoffs is like the 8th seed or something like that, or like the 7th seed. Like, do you really think like if they play like the T Wolves or the OKC that like the Lakers won't be favored? I mean, the Lakers probably won't be favored, but the Lakers, you'd assume they can definitely
money on
beat
them. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that goes for like really like a lot of the even the Pelicans. Like the Pelicans, they're also a really young team, but they're starting to finally find their stride. But I still call them a sleeper team just because they haven't proven it yet in the playoffs. So we'll see what they're made of. We'll see what they're made of come playoff time. But I think veteran teams like the Clippers, like the Suns, like the Lakers, they're all still, and the Nuggets, obviously, they're all still like the favorites in my opinion.
Yeah, I think looking through the teams, I just pulled up the NBA. I think the sleeper team, and this sounds weird because they just made the finals, but it's hard to bet against the Heat in the playoffs. And as bad as they're playing right now,
right,
they always do it. I don't know how. I don't know what they got on their side, but something always makes them do it in the playoffs. So I can't bet against the Heat, man. I do think the 76ers are getting a little underrated. That team is really good. Ultimately, it's going to come down to if Embiid shows up in the playoffs, but eventually he's got to break through, right? They're always right there. I think that could be a really good second round series between them and Milwaukee if that happens.
I think it's good, but the thing is, Giannis always owns Embiid. Embiid just, I don't know what his problem is, but in the playoffs he turns into a shell of himself. I don't know what his problem is, but hopefully maybe he can turn it on this year. We'll see. Maxi's been really solid for the 76ers. They're reasonably deep team, I want to say.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
They got all those role players for Harden.
Yeah.
I do think
Mm-hmm.
another sleeper team to watch is the Pacers. I do think the Pacers
Oh yeah,
with
I like.
how
Ooh,
yeah, with
that pickup with Siakam, dude.
nasty
Ooh, that
pickup.
was
And
nice.
I think
Great pickup with Siakam.
yeah, I think you still got shooters, you still got Healed, like Nemhard, guys like that. Miles Turner obviously shoots the ball. Not the biggest Miles Turner fan in the world, but Halliburton obviously injured right now, hurting them a little bit, but they did get a big win against Philadelphia tonight. Thank you to the Pacers for that because the Cavs are still a 2.5 back of Philly. And I think ultimately the Pacers, they have it really going offensively. It's gonna just be a matter of can they, figure it out defensively a little bit? Can they get into that, average, slightly above average range defensively? I do think losing Bruce Brown hurts a little bit for that. That guy is an awesome defender. But ultimately, teams sometimes find their stride defensively. If they do, they could be a really nice team. I still think number 6 in the East is right for them. I do think Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Cleveland, New York are all better than them. But I think that they could also, they're the type of team, if they turn it on, they get hot. Who knows? So, yeah,
Ooh, yeah, like a first round matchup with them and the Sixers. I actually
that would
might
be
take the
fire.
Pacers in that series. Actually. I think the Pacers beat the Sixers in that series.
It would be a
That's
good
just my
series.
hot take. But
That is a
I think
hot
it'd be a
take.
great
We
series.
might
That'd be really fun to
we might come back to this one in April
watch.
because
Be
it's
really
looking like
fun to
it's a
watch.
possibility. So,
Yeah, like that Pacers offense is it gets hot quick. Like they score really easily. So should be fun. Should be fun to watch them kind of like gel more with the additions of Siakam. That's gonna really it's really gonna elevate them even more. I think, even though they did lose some good role players, I think Siakam brings his own brand of defense. Like I went to the Suns game. I saw them play the Suns a couple days ago. They lost, but if they had Halliburton, they would have easily won that game versus the Suns.
yeah.
Like, and the Suns are a solid team too with their big three, but that Indiana Pacer team is good, really good.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a fun matchup in the East.
Yeah. Well, unless there was anything else you want to talk about, last question I had was where do you think DeJounte Murray ends up? Or where do you think would be the best destination for him? Because it looks like the Hawks most likely will trade him. I have a feeling they might hold on to him, but people are saying they're going to trade him. Teams that have been talked about are like the Spurs, the Lakers, the Bucks. I'm not sure who else.
Mm.
But if there's any other good destinations for them that you could think of, or for him that you could think of, you can bring those up. But what do you think, man? I think
Yeah,
that'll be
maybe
interesting.
they're kind of a young team. Maybe I don't know how I don't know if it would work or not, but maybe Houston. What's Houston looking like as far as shooting guard or point guard goes? Who's their starting shooting guard or point guard?
Is Jalen Green still the starting shooting guard there? I think.
Yeah, if they traded Jalen Green for DeJounte Murray, that's a pretty decent team in Houston. I know they're
Yeah,
young and they're still kind
they
of.
got Jalen Green starting. Their starting lineup right now is Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Jeff Green. I don't know if Jabari Smith usually starts there. He wasn't playing last night. Um, and Sengun and Brooks too. Brooks. Uh, so yeah, I think
Houston's a sleeper
replace.
team.
I mean, I don't know if they
Houston's a
could
sleeper
really
team.
do it in the playoffs, but I think they could make a little run in the play-in. Sneak into the playoffs
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Like, what seed are they right now? Are they the
They're like
sixth seed or are they the seventh seed?
they're like 11th now. They fell apart the last few
Oh,
weeks.
really? Oh,
Yeah, they are
oh, my bad.
three
I
three and
thought they
seven in their
were up
last
there.
10.
Ooh, okay, yeah, maybe not then.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably
J-
wouldn't make it. Like they would only make a move for him if they were winning still. Um,
yeah, Jalen Green
yeah, no.
ultimately not taking that step forward has been really hurting them.
Hmm. Trying to think another spot for Dejounte Murray. Um, hmm. It's a good question. I'm not sure where he would where a likely spot for him would be. Maybe McCollum. It's for with the Pelicans. You think he'd be a better replacement for McCollum,
Um,
or McCollum's
he
probably
could.
better offensively than Murray?
I mean, who's? I
He's
mean, they
kind of
got
old though.
McCollum.
McCollum's old.
Got McCollum playing point guard right now. I mean, obviously you'd have to work on the salaries, but that might not be a terrible move for them. The only issue with DeJounte for me is he needs the ball in his hands. And if you have McCollum, Brandon Ingram, stuff out Zion, obviously, out there, you're gonna want the ball in those guys' hands. So maybe trading McCollum and going and getting a guy like DeJounte isn't the worst move in the world, dude. That's a good point. He's probably better at the point guard position than McCollum is. McCollum's more of a shooting guard, obviously. I think the perfect move is him going back to San Antonio. I think him going back to San Antonio is perfect. They don't have shooting. They don't have guard play. Let him play with Wemby and go back and develop there. He played awesome under Popovich. I think it would be perfect.
Maybe. I feel like San Antonio is definitely in a rebuilding year, even with drafting Wemby. But maybe that's an off-season move that they'd be interested in doing. Lots of crazy stuff going on in the NBA. It's been a great season so far. We're about, I want to say, we're a little bit more than halfway through the season, correct?
Yeah, it's literally right over halfway. Like the Cavs, it's like 44-ish games. Cavs are 42, and so yeah, like right over halfway.
Yeah, it's been good so far. So good. I'm excited for the NBA season and March Madness too. March Madness is gonna be a fun one this year.
Yeah, that would be exciting. Might have to have you back on for that one. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, March Madness is gonna be great.
You hear me?
Yes.
All right. A little bit of technical difficulties there, but yeah. So I think it's gonna be interesting. Definitely would love to have you on again around the time of March Madness to talk about that. That would be a lot of fun. And yeah. So
I'm going to ASU, so hopefully ASU is decent this year. We'll see how it goes. I know we got kind of screwed last year, not making the tournament, or not going that far in the tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you guys, TCU, but
yeah, you guys were up in that game too.
Sure. Yeah, we should have gone farther that year.
Oh well, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. Always awesome talking to you.
Dude, it was great seeing you today, dude. It's been a minute. I'm glad I got to talk some ball with you, man. It was great to talk some sports, with NBA, NFL, the whole shebang. I think we covered a lot. I liked all your input, dude. I think you're doing a great job here with this podcast. You're killing it, dude. Keep going.
Thank you, my man, and yes, appreciate all your input as well. And thank you to everyone so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about our takes. You love them, you hate them, whatever. Leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.